crash and burn.
Hey everybody. So today, whatever the fuck, I would like to discuss, I don't even know when this movie came out. I'm going to say 1998's Very Bad Things, starring Cameron Diaz and Christian Slater. And I love it when a title is simple and yet ridiculously descriptive. This movie is about very bad things. And it couldn't have happened to a more sort of ragtag group of normal dudes. You have Boyd, you've got Adam, you've got Mike, you've got Fisher, who this movie is sort of low-key anchored around because the bad shit that happened, well, the lion's share of the bad shit that happens during his bachelor party because he is going to be marrying Cameron Diaz soon. Cameron Diaz is just about the worst person in the world in this movie. And wow, she's a fucking nightmare. But anyways, yes, like the title suggests, this movie is about very bad things. So Fisher and his friends, I don't even think I finished reading them off. So Boyd, Adam, Mike, and more, as well as Fisher, get a kick-ass looking hotel room, some expensive looking hotel, and they're doing cocaine, getting all crazy. Got a stripper to come over. And if I'm not mistaken, Mike is so turned on by this, he grabs the stripper, runs into the big ass bathroom with her and says, dude, we should totally fuck. She's like, it's $500. He's like, let's do this. They're banging. He throws her up against a wall and her head gets impaled on like some type of there's like a clothes hook or some shit there. And it's like in her skull. So she dies just as he's coming inside of her. That was a nice touch. Ooh. So yeah, and of course, we as the audience know that he did not rape and kill the stripper, but wow, to his brother Adam, who he kind of has a rocky relationship with to begin with, he kind of sees him as a murderer. And he is not a murderer, not by any stretch, but I do have to say that if I found myself in that position, which would never happen because I don't want to have random sex with some random stripper. But if it was, I don't know what the hell I'd do either. I come out of the room all bloody and shit. The stripper's got a fucking big ass hook in her head. You raped and killed her. And that's a bad scene. You don't want to be a part of that. And that kicks off this movie. Then, of course, because they're making so much noise because of all the cocaine, the security guard is called up. And oh, my light is faltering. The security guard gets called up and everything's cool. They pay him off. He's on his way out, boom, boom, boom. And then he looks over and he sees in the reflection the dead hooker. So Boyd, Christian Slater, who is the ultimate problem solver, grabs a wine opener and a corkscrew, and he fucking plunges it into the dude's chest a bunch of times, throw him in the bathroom, and they close the door, and he bleeds out while begging for his life. Fuck. And this movie just goes downhill from there. This is the worst group of people to do this with, especially Adam. That fucking scene when he's at the gas station / convenience store and his kids are driving me crazy. Whizzers, we want whizzers. Whizzers is this fucking candy. I don't know if whizzers are real or not. Whizzers, we want whizzers. And Adam is so paranoid. A cop car pulls up and he thinks they're there for him and he can't go into the store. The cops are in there and he's all shaky. He knocks all this shit over because he doesn't know how to behave, because in his eyes, he's constantly on the hook and being hunted by everybody for the double murder that he was an accessory after the fact to, because he helped chop up the bodies and everything. But he didn't really have anything to, well, he did because he chopped up the bodies, but you know what I mean? He didn't have anything to do with it directly. And he can't calm down. And of course, Mike ends up killing Adam at Fisher's rehearsal dinner the night before his wedding, or a few days before his wedding. And Mike was going to thrash Adam's minivan because he doesn't like Adam's minivan, but Mike doesn't get out of the way. Adam sees that Mike is going to do this, so he steps in front of the minivan trying to stop him, except Mike can't stop, and he fucking creams his brother too. So now it's 3 bodies. And it just keeps getting worse and worse. And this movie's nuts. I think overall, though, one of my favorite sort of side things from this movie that I love is how it really skewers the idea of marriage. Well, maybe not marriage, the hoops that we have to jump through in order to have a wedding. according to most people, like you have to have a rehearsal dinner, you got to have a seating plan, you've got to make sure the seats are comfortable, yeah, are the seats padded, are the seats not padded? You know, all this shit. And it's like, why are you doing this? Why do you need to have 500 people come to some day when you're getting the government involved with your relationship? It never made any sense to me. So I like how this movie sort of puts the idea of getting married under the microscope too. I thought that was incredibly fun. But I just love the chaos. I love how Boyd, who never liked Adam's wife, he ends up killing her too because they lie to her and say that Adam had sex with a prostitute because Boyd really doesn't like Adam's wife, so he kind of destroys her there, and then he goes in and kills her because Boyd is just like a full-on psychopath. This movie is amazing. This movie is so much fun, and Cameron Diaz, who is by far the worst person in this movie, gets exactly what she deserves at the end because Fisher and Moore are the only two left, and they're both paralyzed, and her husband, Fisher, he's like a double amputee, I think, and they're Adam's disabled kids' godparents, so she now has to look after his disabled kids and her disabled husband, as well as their disabled dog, who was damaged badly in the car crash that takes place at the end of the film. And that's just it. Cameron Diaz gets what she deserves. And this movie's amazing. And that's where I'm going to leave it. So thank you so much for hanging out with me for, Jesus Christ, 6.5 minutes while I discussed take a guess again and say the 1998 movie, Very Bad Things. Like always, if you like this review, or I was going to say, or if you like this record, or if you like this movie, don't forget to do something nice for somebody. But as always, please don't forget that the world is actually a better place because you are in it. I'm getting out of here. Have a good night. Or, fuck, I hope I'm looking in the lens. Have a good night.